How's it going, everybody? Winner Kills here. Welcome to another feature match. We've got Block Dragon BA, piloted by yours truly on the right, and Kozmo over on the left. Same Kozmo player as the previous feature match of Zombies versus Kozmo. If you haven't checked it out, do so. It'll be linked up in the top right. But yeah, both of us undefeated here in round 3. I know it's only 2 rounds, super impressive, right? But might as well point that out for, you know, the sake of the video, I guess. But he's going first. He wins the die roll to my dismay, and I know the things that he's like main decking and things like that, so I'm a little worried what might be set. And of course, I literally hand him the Dark Destroyer off of the tin can. He's going to pass it over to me. So not the most menacing board up front, but I know at least one thing is capable, and that is the Dark Destroyer coming down, which is one interruption, which my hand really doesn't care too much about. But when you basically make my tour guide fizzle because of Tikaboo, it gets a little more difficult. And on the resolution of there can be only one. He's going to tag the tin can out to clear the tour guide, which would hurt normally since the tracker is no longer live, but I do have a Gilasaurus, which its downside effect, where they get to special summon a card, won't be able to resolve for him since he does have There Can Be Only One, which will allow me to summon a Psychic Tracker to potentially try to continue my combo, but a Super Polymerization will say otherwise, discarding a Slip Rider and going for a Mud Dragon. So at this point, looking a bit more difficult to continue to combo, having Giant Rex Gigantes and Crusadia Leonis in my hand. Really not much to go on other than summon this Gigantes in defense by banishing a Gilasaurus and passing, and having him do the work for me and clearing his own There Can Be Only One. Granted, it is slowing him down slightly. He was thinking about setting one, but decides, since Heavy Storm is about to resolve here in the battle phase, it might not be a good idea to set that. So I'll run over the Gigantes. That'll clear the There Can Be Only One, which really doesn't affect my deck too much. Clearing that wasn't a main priority. I'm mainly putting out that so I don't like Omega die in the battle phase. So I only take 3k, top deck the Mathematician, which is very, very lucky. So that will go through to dump the O-Lion to get myself a level 3 token. And that is going to allow me to go right into the Cherubini. To try to, again, start this combo after several failed attempts from the previous turn. So, gonna dump the Graph, and that's gonna summon out the Seer. And if any of you saw with the set card, he almost set, didn't quite commit to it. You know that it's Dimensional Barrier, because he mains Dimensional Barrier, not for my deck, of course, but for Shadal's, and calls Xyz. So Dante does not get to come out to play this turn, so obviously I still have plenty of options that are not Xyz monsters, but it's figuring out which is the best one to go into. And right now I go for Boral Sword here, I believe, but hindsight is 2020. I should have gone for Avermax and linked off the Seer and the Leonis for like a Cerberus, and gone for that. I could also gone for the BLS link, which would have normal summoned itself, or not normal summoned, but linked all 3, you know, go into battle phase, run over the Mud Dragon, non-target, banish the Dark Destroyer, and then leave him with pretty much nothing. But instead I go for Boral Sword, which is a questionable play here. I figure I can at least clear the Dark Destroyer, put on some damage. Yes, he'll get the effect, but I don't really care too much about the effect of whatever he's going to summon, because it's most likely going to be something like Forerunner or Slip Rider. And then if he tries to run over my Cherubini next turn, I can just protect it with the Boral Sword. And yeah, that's really about it for my turn there. He'll gain 1,000 in the standby phase. And it looks like he picks up a copy of Mystic Mind for a turn, so there's that. I guess ultimately it wouldn't have mattered what I would have linked into, because Mystic Mind promotes fun and interactive Yu-Gi-Oh! Gameplay. He's going to actually Tribute Summon for Pankratops, and I'm going to turn it to defense and attack. And he's just going to, after enter main phase 2, use the effect of Pankratops to clear the Boral Sword. And my Cherubini is protected like I was trying to do, but Mystic Mind comes down. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready for some fun and interactive Yu-Gi-Oh! Get it flashing up on the screen there, passing back and forth. until he has the resources available to absolutely murder me. Now, he could have here counted the cards in both players' deck and took it to a deck out if he so desired. Completely had everything in his power to do so, is because I do not have a main decked out. I guess my one main decked out, I don't know, I wouldn't even have a main decked out. I guess I could have farfed my own Cherubini, but I don't think that would have worked. So after a few turns pass, he's going to use Allure of Darkness to banish a Dark Destroyer after setting one. And I believe remove his own Mystic Mine now by getting a Kozmo Town. He'll gladly pay 800 to get back a Dark Destroyer. Now, my hand is pretty stacked at this point. I've got Sekka's Light and a few other cards. He's going to Reasoning. I call level 1 because I don't want him to get into another Wind Can. Unfortunately, he goes right into a Landwalker. And normal summons the Farm Girl with another Kozmo Town being activated, paying another 8 to add back another Dark Destroyer. And it's just going to be game right then and there. So we're going to scoop it up and head right into game 2. And as we do, I want to mention a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist, provider of the amazing mat I am using on the right and the sleeves that I'm currently using. So if you're interested in picking any of that stuff up, check out their website down in the description below. And don't forget to use that discount code WinnerKills10 to save 10% off your entire order on any of their amazing products. So getting started here in game 1, I'm setting one back row, which ends up being the Imperial Order, which is really, really nice to have in this matchup. Stops Super Poly and Mystic Mine dead in their tracks. And I get started with a Jackalope. He hits Block Dragon, and I normal summon the Edgem Sabers. Now, a big mistake happens here on my part. A very accidental mistake. I use Cherubini here, and I send the Rhino Warrior, and I actually have to get up and take a judge call because their main judge wasn't actually there that day. They were at a regional, and I'm putting it up on the screen for those that aren't watching with audio. And I had to get up and take a ruling question, which I don't normally do because I'm not a judge, but I had to go offer, you know, my input on a ruling situation. And I came back, you know, not exactly remembering 100% what the game state had been, being that I had already normal summoned Edgem Sabers. So as you see, I recoil there with the Rhino Warrior back into the deck, which is what I should have sent. I should have sent Rhino Warrior to send Libic to summon the Graph in my hand, but instead I send Sea Archiver. Now, it's not the biggest deal as the game state. Still technically could still like play out the way it did, because I could have used the Edgem Sabers to stack the Graph to the top of my deck, and then use the Sea Archiver to summon itself out, make Dante mill the Graph and a few other cards, summon out Seer, and go from there. But it plays out the way that it does. My opponent doesn't catch it. I don't catch it. Completely accidental mistake. Am I a little disappointed in myself? Absolutely. But again, these things happen. It had been a very long and rough day, because I had gone to a regionals that day, earlier that day, and drove an hour and a half to go there, only to find out that there was some sort of pre-reg, and I got turned away at the door, and basically drove all the way out there for nothing, and was very, very upset about it, to say the least. And I decided I'd come to locals to at least get some Yu-Gi-Oh! In for the day, and lo and behold, mistakes do happen. So yeah, the game state is what it is. Going to resolve a Saryuja now, putting back 3, thinking carefully on what I want to put back, and just going for, I think I used Saryuja here to summon out the tracker in my hand. Not entirely sure, because I have no level 3s to get out with the tracker. So yeah, I use Glow Bulb's effect here since I already have order, and then I use the Saryuja to summon out Psychic Tracker to go into the Saryuja number 2, add back the Graph as Chainlink 2, then resolve Saryuja Chainlink 3, putting back Tour Guide, the Graph, and one other, using Gallus Burning for 3, and then, or Burning for 6, then another Gallus Burning for 6. So usually down to 68 here. And at this point, I'm trying to make a Curious, although I don't need to because that's usually for Glow Up Ball, but I already have Imperial Order, so I'm trying to like set up Nightmare Griffin because I'm experimenting with siding in Imperial Order and Nightmare Griffin just for that particular setup to stop Dark Ruler no more. That's why I also side in cards like Solemn Judgment to stop cards like Evenly Matched. I'm also main decking Lingaribo in my extra deck, although I did side it out games 2 and 3 for the Nightmare Griffin in the extra deck, which I think going forward I'm going to side out cards like Boral Sword or maybe even the BLS Link for the Nightmare Griffin, and keep the Lingaribo in the main deck because it is crucial to have that trap negate if you aren't able to get access to your Solemn Judgments. But with the Nightmare Griffin, you can get those Solemn Judgments back. I just forget one key aspect of Nightmare Griffin in this game, and that's that you need a discard to use its effect, much like all the other Nightmares. Yes, I know, such a surprise, but I completely forget about that factor. So I use the Curious here since I already have Order to send Dotscaper to get an additional body, thanks to the Gigantes. I go into Appaloosa with 4 materials to get that 4 negate body on board. And at this point, I'm just trying to make Nightmare Griffin. I don't know why I'm trying to make Nightmare Griffin. I think I'm doing it because I think I can get back my Judgment. Which I think Order, Appaloosa, Griffin, and like Judgment would have been good, but I'm overlooking the fact that I needed a discard for it. So it is what it is. A bit of a mistake on my behalf again. Just all over the place here, but I don't actually resolve the Griffin. Thankfully, I realized that, oh, I don't have a discard. I'm not going to take that back. It's fine. It's whatever. I'll still take the fact that none of your special monsters can activate their effects unless they are linked. So that in of itself is a pretty decent floodgate to have. Going to link the Gizmek and the Block Dragon for Phoenix, and link Phoenix and Cerberus for, of course, Nightmare Griffin. Here you see me reading the effect, checking the grave, realizing I have no way to get back this Solemn Judgment in my grave, and I believe I have to pass there. No other plays to be made. So he's down 16. Standby phase, I go ahead and shotgun the Order and make sure he has, hopefully nothing in response to it. So I'll drop me down by 700, and I believe he has the normal summon here, which ends up being a tin can. And you can see he has 2 spells in hand, one being Monster Born and one being Allure. So the Order is putting in work here, and he is going to use the pay 5 effect here, which is cost, so that will happen regardless of whether I negate with Appaloosa. But I don't negate with Appaloosa in fear of him being able to tag out into that zone that Appaloosa is pointing to, going for something like Dark Destroyer to be able to clear my effects, and then, run over in the battle phase. So I let the tin can go through here because I really just want to stop the chain effect at any point. I do not want him to get another body on the field. And he's going to reveal 3 from the deck, going for Dark Destroyer. I believe goes for Forerunner and Dark Lady, yeah, Dark Lady? Yeah, Kozmo Dark Lady. I think that's the name. Yeah, so Forerunner, Dark Lady, and the Destroyer. Luckily, I give him the Forerunner, the worst of the bunch. And then I think his turn ends there. Passing it back to me, I'll take another 700 in the standby phase as the mandatory effect of Imperial Order. And at this point, I'm trying to put game on board because, well, it's now or never. I don't want to let this linger on any longer while I have a absurd advantage over my opponent. I think in grave I have 2 Block Dragons and a Gizmek live, so I start things off slowly by just going for a Block Dragon in the grave, banishing a Gigantes in my hand, which I think I drew for turn, and then I'm gonna just go into the battle phase here and save the Gizmek for the battle phase, since he is already down pretty low, 1200 from Gallus and 500 from the Tin Can. He goes to use Tin Can's tag out effect on attack declaration. I negate because it doesn't negate the activation, so I can use in the battle phase, which is pretty nice. Well, wouldn't matter too much there since no damage step shenanigans happen. So we're going to go into game 3 where he's going to make me go first. Interestingly enough, I did put in some going first and going second sides. As you see, the Kumunguses and the Evenly Matched in the main deck there alongside Imperial Order still, and Griffin still in the extra deck. So Tour Guide resolving here, going for the Rhino Warrior and going for the Sabers and going for Cherubini. Now just calling back to game 2. Like I said, I still think I had enough for combo, even though I didn't even come close to ending on the full combo. I think just if I would have been able to get into Appaloosa with the Order, it would have been game either way. I think instead of sending Sea Archiver, if I would have sent Libic to get the Graph out of my hand, I think we would have been in business because I could have stacked the Bulb off of the sabers, milled it. You know, still got my my seer on board thanks to Graph, etc., etc. So again, I do apologize for that major misplay on my behalf. Like I said, it had been a long day, and I really still wanted to show you guys this feature match, mainly because of this game here. Game 3 is a pretty interesting game. So I do reveal the Jackalope. He snipes it, but it doesn't matter because I'm still going to get the snack out of the deck. And by the way, I have changed my danger lineup, and I have actually changed my BA build quite a bit, incorporating some new fresh cards and some new ideas. And one of which is the Lingeribo play, and also the Imperial Order and Nightmare Griffin attack in the side deck as well. And I'm also no longer playing Beatrice in the main deck. So using Saryuja here to special summon Sea Archiver, and I'm also using the Gilasaurus here, and then just summoning out the Gallus. Oh yeah, and one of the other changes I made, I'm only playing 2 Jackalope and 2 Snake now. I'm not playing Nessie anymore because I figured Nessie doesn't really help you make Cherubini. It can oftentimes just be a brick in your hand because it's not a level 3. Its level is kind of awkward. Yes, it can help to make the Curious, but I oftentimes find myself making Curious with Earth monsters as opposed to Dark monsters. I think I've also added in Defrag Dragon as well as just another level 3 special summon. And I think going forward, I'm also going to be moving up to triple Gilasaurus, since I am playing Sangan too. Sangan, I feel like, is pretty great in this deck because it can turn off the downsides of Gilasaurus while still being able to special summon it. And it can also search out cards like Leonis and still be able to special summon them since they are not effects to special. They are summoning conditions. So using Curious here to get the Imperial Order to the graveyard. And lo and behold, just trying to set up that Nightmare Griffin play. Not going to forget about the discard this time around. And I've only gone through 1 Saryuja at this point. So I'm going to summon Block Dragon here. And link off everything, Sea Archiver included. Sea Archiver actually does not get banished here since I did summon it off of Saryuja's effect previously. So going in the second Saryuja, Chainlink 2 Dante, Chainlink 1 Saryuja, adding back Graph, drawing into, I think, 2 Mathematician here. I keep the 1 Mathematician because I'm starting to see the final end board here. Resolving another Gallus, milling Gilasaurus. That'll drop him down by another 6. That's 2 Gilasauruses, or not Gilasaurus, Galluses. Getting Gallus and Gilasaurus mixed up here, my apologies. But 2 Galluses resolving. Now using the Sea Archiver effect. Now this is where if I had a Lingeribo, I'd probably make it. But I don't know if I would have had the room. I would have had to make the Lingeribo earlier on while the Saryuja was in the top extra monster zone. But here I'm just trying to set up the Nightmare Griffin. And I know I can use Curious, but I really didn't want to use the Sea Archiver. I wanted to save the Sea Archiver, but I placed it in like the incorrect zone. I should have put it in like a different zone that wasn't there. So I go for the Griffin. And then I use Griffin's effect, discard Fossil Dyna because I haven't used Saryuja's special summon effect yet. And then I end up drawing a Gizmek off of the Griffin that's co-linked. So Saryuja summons out the Mathematician. That's going to help complete a Leviair. And you can sort of see all the puzzle pieces falling into place at this point. In the final phase of this deck's, turn, the assembly phase, if you will. That's what I've at least come to call it. Summoning out that Clutch Gizmek, which will give me access to the Dingirsu, which is going to give me that finalized protection for Fossil Dyna in battle phase, which is very crucial. So Fossil Dyna clearing any possible super polys and the order securing everything else, and he's just going to concede right then and there. No Dark Ruler, no Mores for you. Of course, evenly matched would have been pretty rough, but you better have it, as they say. So that is going to do it for this feature match for today, I guess. Round 4 coming tomorrow. I think it actually is Mech Knights versus Hero, Invoked Mech Knight versus Hero, so be on the lookout for that. And I actually I actually did win my next round against Mech Knight Invoked. So I did go 4-0 this past week, so congrats to me since I didn't get to go to the regional. But it is what it is. Anyways, so yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a like. Don't forget to check out my link to TCG Player down below. And also consider hitting the join button if you want to go the extra mile and supporting the channel. And speaking of those that have gone the extra mile, a huge shout out to Travis, Harris, Academic Thick, and Ty for being the divine level supporters on this channel. It is greatly appreciated, and thank you for allowing me to help make better content for you guys on the daily. So yeah, I appreciate it. Those guys want to kill, signing out. We'll see you guys in the next one.